Every autumn, something impossible happens in North America. 400 million butterflies, each one weighing less than a paperclip, take off from fields and forests across the United States and Canada. They have never made this journey before. They have never been taught the route. And yet, every single one of them knows exactly where to go. They fly up to 3,000 miles, through storms, over mountains, across deserts, to a tiny patch of forest in central Mexico that their great-great-grandparents visited, but they have never seen. This is the story of the monarch butterfly, and it is one of the greatest mysteries in all of nature. The monarch butterfly, Danaus plexippus, is one of the most recognizable insects on Earth. Its iconic orange and black wings are known across North America, and its annual migration is considered one of the greatest natural spectacles on the planet. But the monarch is far more than a pretty wing pattern. It is a biological marvel, a creature that navigates by the sun, detects Earth's magnetic field, survives on poison, and completes a journey that scientists still cannot fully explain. There are monarch populations on every continent except Antarctica, but the most famous, and the most studied, are the eastern North American monarchs, who make the epic annual migration to the Oyamel fir forests of Michoacan, Mexico. Let's start with the body, because a monarch butterfly is an engineering masterpiece in miniature. An adult monarch has a wingspan of 3.5 to 4 inches, about the size of your palm. It weighs between 0.27 and 0.75 grams. To put that in perspective, a paperclip weighs 1 gram. A monarch weighs less than half a paperclip. Yet this tiny creature will fly up to 100 miles per day during migration. It will navigate using the sun as a compass. It will survive temperatures near freezing. And it will live up to 9 months, far longer than any other butterfly species. The wings. Monarch wings are covered in thousands of tiny scales, each one a modified hair. These scales create the iconic orange and black pattern, but they do much more than look beautiful. The scales absorb solar energy, warming the butterfly's body so it can fly in cool temperatures. They also shed water, protecting the butterfly in rain, and the orange color itself is a warning, a signal to predators that says, "Do not eat me. I am toxic." The monarch's toxicity comes entirely from its diet. Monarch caterpillars eat only one plant, milkweed. Milkweed contains toxic compounds called cardiac glycosides, the same compounds used in heart medication. These toxins build up in the caterpillar's body and remain in the adult butterfly. Any bird that eats a monarch gets violently ill. They vomit, they convulse, they never eat another monarch again, and they teach their flock to avoid the orange and black pattern. This is called aposematism, using bright color as a warning signal, and the monarch has perfected it. Now, the life cycle. Because the transformation of a monarch butterfly is one of the most extraordinary processes in nature. It begins with an egg. A monarch egg is the size of a pinhead, smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. The female lays each egg individually on the underside of a milkweed leaf. She may lay up to 700 eggs in her lifetime, but only on milkweed. No other plant will do. After 3 to 5 days, the egg hatches into a caterpillar, called a larva. The first thing it does is eat its own eggshell. Then it begins eating milkweed, consuming it at a rate that seems impossible for something so small. In just 9 to 14 days, the caterpillar grows from 2 millimeters to 45 millimeters, an increase of over 2,000%. It sheds its skin 5 times during this process. Each stage is called an instar. The caterpillar's iconic yellow, black, and white stripes are another warning to predators, advertising its toxicity loud and clear. Then comes the moment that has fascinated humans for thousands of years: metamorphosis. The caterpillar finds a safe spot, spins a silk pad, and hangs upside down in a J shape. Over the next 18 hours, its skin splits open one final time, revealing the chrysalis underneath. The chrysalis is jade green with a row of golden dots near the top. It looks like a piece of jewelry. Inside, something almost unimaginable is happening. The caterpillar is dissolving itself. Its cells break down into a kind of biological soup. Then, guided by a blueprint encoded in its DNA, those cells reorganize entirely. New structures form from scratch: wings, antennae, compound eyes, a completely different digestive system. After 8 to 15 days, the chrysalis becomes transparent. You can see the orange and black wings folded inside. And then, the adult butterfly emerges. It pumps fluid into its wings to expand them. It waits for them to dry and harden. And then, it flies. From egg to adult, the entire process takes about 30 days. And then the miracle of migration begins. Here is what makes the monarch migration truly mind-bending. Monarchs live in generations. During spring and summer, monarchs live only 2 to 6 weeks as adults. They mate, lay eggs, and die. Their children do the same, and their children's children. But the generation born in late summer, called the supergeneration, is biologically different. Something in the shortening daylight and cooling temperatures triggers a hormonal change. Their reproductive system shuts down. Their lifespan extends from 6 weeks to up to 9 months, and they feel an overwhelming urge to fly south. This supergeneration has never been to Mexico. Their parents never went. Their grandparents never went. It takes 4 generations of monarchs to complete the round trip, meaning no individual monarch ever makes the full journey twice. Yet the supergeneration knows exactly where to go. To the same mountains, the same forests. Sometimes, researchers have found, to the same trees. How? This is where science gets genuinely humbling. Monarchs navigate using a time-compensated sun compass. There is a circadian clock in their antennae that tracks the time of day. Combined with the position of the sun, they calculate direction with remarkable accuracy. Even on cloudy days, they can detect polarized light patterns invisible to human eyes. But the sun compass alone cannot explain how they find the same specific mountains in Mexico year after year. Researchers believe monarchs also sense Earth's magnetic field using iron-containing magnetite crystals found in their bodies. They may be using 2 completely separate navigation systems simultaneously. The migration itself is staggering. Monarchs travel up to 100 miles per day. They ride thermal currents, columns of rising warm air, to gain altitude without flapping their wings. They have been tracked flying at altitudes of over 11,000 feet. They stop to feed on nectar along the way, fueling up for the next leg of the journey. They can store enough fat to survive weeks without eating. When they finally arrive in Michoacán, the scene is almost beyond description. Hundreds of millions of monarchs cover the oyamel fir trees so densely that the branches bend under their weight. The forest turns orange. The sound of their wings is like rushing water. Local communities have celebrated the monarch's arrival for centuries. The butterflies arrive around the Day of the Dead, and indigenous Purepecha people believe they carried the souls of ancestors returning home. The monarchs spend the winter clustered together in the cold mountain forest, barely moving, conserving energy, waiting for spring. When temperatures rise in February and March, something stirs. The reproductive system reactivates. The monarchs mate, and they begin flying north, back toward the United States. But here is the cruel twist. The overwintering monarchs, the supergeneration that flew 3,000 miles south, do not make it all the way back. They fly north as far as Texas and the southern United States, lay their eggs on the first milkweed they find, and die. Their children continue north, and their children's children. It takes 3 or 4 generations of short-lived spring and summer monarchs to repopulate the entire eastern United States and Canada, before the cycle begins again. Now, the crisis, because the monarch butterfly is in serious trouble. In 1996, The overwintering population in Mexico covered 45 acres of forest. By 2013, it had crashed to just 1.7 acres, a decline of over 96% in less than 20 years. The population has partially recovered since then, but remains dangerously low and unstable. The monarch was listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 2022. The causes are multiple and devastating. Milkweed loss is perhaps the biggest. Across the American Midwest, the monarch's primary breeding ground, milkweed has been eliminated from agricultural fields by herbicide-resistant farming. Without milkweed, monarchs cannot reproduce. It is that simple. Deforestation in Mexico threatens the overwintering habitat. Illegal logging has destroyed portions of the forest where monarchs cluster. Climate change disrupts the timing of migration, causing monarchs to arrive before milkweed has sprouted or after nectar flowers have died. Pesticides kill both monarchs and the insects they depend on. Urban development eliminates habitat across their entire range. But there is hope, and the hope comes from ordinary people. Planting milkweed in gardens, roadsides, and parks has proven remarkably effective. Citizen science programs track monarch populations in real time, with thousands of volunteers across North America, counting butterflies and reporting sightings. The Monarch Way Station program has certified over 37,000 gardens and green spaces across North America as monarch habitat. Each one is a small refuge, a place where monarchs can feed, rest, and reproduce. In Mexico, community conservation programs pay local people to protect the forest, making conservation economically competitive with logging. The results have been dramatic in some areas. Schools across the United States raise monarch caterpillars in classrooms, connecting children to the natural world and creating a generation of people who care about monarch survival. The monarch butterfly has survived for millions of years. It has crossed oceans, colonized new continents, and evolved one of the most complex migration systems in the animal kingdom. It weighs less than a paperclip and flies 3,000 miles on wings thinner than a human fingernail. What it cannot survive is indifference. If this video moved you, plant milkweed, share this video, tell someone about the monarch, because the most powerful conservation tool in the world is a person who cares. See you then.